This is highwithoutcoke and welcome to another pathofexile video. In today's video, I'm going to show you my league starter for 3.22, Chaos Blazing Salvo Totem Hierophant build, dual wielding the Consuming Dark dagger. I have been interested in this unique dagger for a long time but didn't get the chance to play it. This dagger converts 30% of our damage into chaos damage. By dual wielding it, we can convert 60% of our fire damage into chaos damage. I decided to run a Totem Hierophant build because I haven't been playing one for a long time, and the result was very good. Leveling was a blast and I was able to clear tier 16 maps comfortably with less than 20 seed budget. Apart from being insanely cheap while having decent damage as a league starter, this build is very beginner friendly. There is nothing too complex about this build, making it easy for anyone to follow this guide. This build allows you to be mobile all the time, as you can run around dodging enemies while placing the totems occasionally. However, this build has very little evasion and no spell suppression. You also can't deal damage yourself, instead all your damage comes from your totems. Before I talk about the gears, if you like the content you're watching, please consider leaving a like or subscribing. I would appreciate it a lot. This unique dagger is the bread and butter of this build. Besides converting our damage into chaos, it also gives a lot of damage boost. This dagger costs like 1C at Crucible League start, and I expect its price to remain the same next league. For the body armor, I am using Soul Mantle. It is basically the best in slot for any spell totem builds, unless you are playing something like Shockwave Totem with the built-in totem support. The downside of Soul Mantle is that you are inflicted with a random hex when your totems die. But this is okay, because we will turn this downside into a benefit. I will talk about this later. Kika 0 is mandatory to run this build because it provides 60% reduced effect of curses on you. This ring also provides some life and mana regen, which is really good for this build. The helmet I am using is Mind Spiral, which should be around 1C at league start. The main reason I use this helmet is because of the huge mana and mana recoup. I took Mind Over Matter Keystone on the passive skill tree, so whenever I'm hit, 40% of damage is taken from mana before life. In this clip, I intentionally took a few hits, and as you can see, my life and mana recovered very quickly. In this case, Mind Over Matter is very good as it increases our EHP. Unless I get one shot or stand still for a long time, I rarely die. I just need to move away after getting hit and my life and mana would be back to full. This helmet is therefore very important for mana sustain because it allows us to recover some of our damage taken as mana. By using this helmet, we also gain a portion of our mana as extra energy shield. This is great because this build stacks a lot of mana. I bought a Despair Curse on Hit ring. Auto cursing is just so good. The main problem is I have no idea how much this ring would cost at league start. But the good news is, this ring is not mandatory. I expect it to cost a few chaos for one with other bad modes, but if it is expensive, you can always self-cast Despair or link it to Arcanist brand, just slower while mapping. The rest of my gears were self-found and are used to cap my resistances and get the dexterity needed for this build. My flasks are nothing special. Diamond Flask for damage, Granite Flask for more armor, Silver Flask for more cast speed and movement speed. I got increased duration on my flask, but it is not essential. This is my setup for Blazing Salvo Totem. It is a 4-link, but because we are using this body armor, our setup here is essentially a 5-link. Multiple totem support is, in my opinion, required, or we would end up with only 3 totems, since we can't use a shield with +1 totem mode. Zealotry is linked to Eternal Blessing support so that we don't have to reserve any mana and can free up our mana pool for the Might over Matter mechanics. Wither increases the chaos damage taken by enemies and is linked to faster casting to apply as many stacks of Wither as possible. I only cast this when facing tanky rares or bosses. Cast when damage taken setup. Flame Dash is linked to low-level Arcane Surge support to trigger Arcane Surge as often as possible. Stone Golem for some life regen, and Whirling Blades. I had to use Whirling Blades because this build cannot use Shield Charge. However, I got so used to using Flame Dash so I rarely use Whirling Blades. I'm just putting this setup here for anyone that prefers having a movement skill other than Flame Dash. Moving on to my Ascendancy, I picked Hierophant because it is the Ascendancy that specializes in Totem. It gives +1 Totem, a lot of damage and mana, and some defense. I took the notables in this order: Pursuit of Faith, Ritual of Awakening, Conviction of Power, and lastly, Divine Guidance. Once you get Divine Guidance, you can then allocate the Might over Matter keystone to give you an instant boost in survivability. For my skill tree, there are a few things that I want to mention. This wheel is very important as it provides us with another 30% of reduced curse effect. I also got the Corrupted Blood Can't Be Inflicted Mastery. I took the 10% Mana Recoup Mastery for better mana sustain. This build has a lot of life regen. I coupled this with some life recoup so when I take a hit, I can recover my life very quickly. As for my jewels, Self-flagellation is mandatory for this build. It should cost a few chaos at league start, but it is totally worth it, because it gives us a huge damage boost. When playing this build, we would have 8 or 9 curses on us most of the time, so we could get up to 180% increased damage. Try to get one with a higher roll, but if it's expensive early on, something like mine works too. For Pantheon, I use Brine King for freeze avoidance and Ugol for reduced effect of curses. We now have 120% reduced effect of curses on us, causing us to be unaffected by curses, unless the enemies have increased effect of curses. I got all the nodes here and then pathed out here to get these life and damage nodes. I only took the totem nodes after going full totem. As for Ancestral Bond, I only took it after I did my first lap and got the multiple totem support in Act 4. For my jump progression, I had been leveling with Flame Wall and Blazing Salvo Totem before I went full totem. I listed some leveling units here, but they are not mandatory, just nice to have. Use the best weapons you can get while leveling. These are the weapon and shield I used before changing to Consuming Dark. If you can get 2+1 to Fire Spell Wand early on, it will be very good. Alright, I hope I have covered everything in this video. If you like my content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you and see you next time.